Sierra Leone and Gabon signed communique to deepen bilateral relations. Government announces new pump prices for petroleum products, and fence collapses at Femitona Gorge community following heavy downpour. This is News Hour, reaching you live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Television on Channel 31. Stay with us. Welcome back to News Hour. Those are the headlines now for the full newscast with me, Telly's Fraser. To begin News Hour, the government has announced new pump prices for petroleum products following a review of the petroleum pricing formula by the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and oil marketing companies. Effective immediately, the price of petrol has increased from 33 new leones to 35 new leones per litre. The government said it was providing a subsidy of 2 leones, 11 cents per litre, to cushion the impact on customers. Diesel will now sell at 40 new leones per litre, up from 35 new leones. A subsidy of 3 leones, 4 cents per litre, will also apply. According to the government, the price adjustment reflects changes in international fuel prices and movements in the exchange rate, while ensuring that fuel subsidies remain sustainable. Authorities emphasized that petroleum prices will continue to be reviewed regularly. Now, away from there now to the heavy downpour and incidences occurring around Freetown. Following the heavy downpour on Monday, August 3rd, some residents at Femitona Gorge community suffered loss as a fence collapsed and 2 vehicles washed away. Although no lives were lost, it is a call for authorities concerned to act swift to save lives. Sulaiman Dumbuya reports.
What started as a normal rainy night on Monday, August 3rd, turned into a nightmare for residents of Femitona in Gorge community. Heavy flood waters swept through the compound, washing away 2 vehicles, destroying perimeters, fences, and damaging homes and other properties. Residents woke up to the mud, debris, and broken belongings scattered across the compound. Many families were left counting their losses. Al-Hazi Al-Hassan Ba, an affected resident, described the destruction caused by the flooding. A security guard, Osman Kabo, said he was lucky to have survived the unfortunate incident.
My vehicle and another person's vehicle were washed away, and so many other properties were destroyed. But we thank God because no life was lost.
At the masjid and then feeling like sleeping.
If anybody would have died in it, would have been me, because I was in the masjid and I moved from the masjid and sat on the chair for a while, and I went into sleep. While sleeping, I heard people shouting. That was how I knew something had happened.
Although no lives were lost, the emotional and financial toll has been immense. Residents are appealing for urgent intervention. Amid their call, many believe building on waterways put the lives of residents in danger during the rainy season.
Meanwhile, a section of the perimeter fence at 34 Military Hospital Wilberforce collapsed on the main road following heavy rainfall in the areas of Monday, August 3rd. Amata Saisi filing this report, which was getting in the studio by Yusuf Musiri Suma.
The incident, which occurred around 1 a.m., led to a partial obstruction of traffic along the busy route at Wilberforce. Despite the impact, no major casualties or injuries were reported. Between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., authorities had managed to clear part of the debris and reopen one way to ensure the gradual movement of vehicles and reduce congestion in the area. Residents living nearby described the incident as alarming but expressed relief that no lives were lost. Ibrahim Jallo, a resident, said the heavy downpour throughout the night may have weakened the structure, leading to a sudden collapse. Another resident, Abubakar Jr., noted that the obstruction initially caused delays for commuters heading to work, but commended the swift response that helped restore partial traffic movement. The incident highlights concerns about structural integrity during the peak of the rainy season. SLBC News in Freetown, Yusuf Mosiri.
This SLBC will continue to bring you updates as and when necessary. We continue now to the presidency, as Leone and Gabon has taken a major step to deepen bilateral relations. The two countries have signed a joint communique and a general cooperation agreement, which is aimed at expanding partnership in trade, security, agriculture, energy, and governance. The government sets the stage for a joint commission in November. The deal paves the way for stronger trade, security, and diplomatic ties ahead of a joint commission in November. Here is the status correspondent Margaret Sege with the reports.
The visit of the President of Gabon and his delegation to Sierra Leone marks a new chapter in Freetown-Libreville relations. State House was the scene of high-level diplomacy as President Julius Maada Bio hosted his colleague Brice Oligui Nguema of Gabon. At the center of talks was a shared vision, stronger African integration and mutual prosperity. Both leaders reaffirmed their commitments to democratic governance, constitutional order, human rights and good governance as essential foundation for development. Talks were also deepened on agriculture, trade, energy, mining, transportation, the blue economy and defense, among other things. President Julius Maada Bio used the opportunity to congratulate him on his election as president. President Bio says Sierra Leone and Gabon shared common values and believes that by working together, both countries can deliver prosperity, peace and dignity for their people.
Africa's future will be shaped not only by resources beneath our soil, but also by investment we make in our people. We should deepen cooperation in education, technical and vocational training, healthcare, digital transformation, and artificial intelligence. Cultural, youth, sporting, and professional exchanges will further strengthen relations between our two peoples.
The visiting president from Gabon, Brice Oligui Nguema, echoes that statement, stressing the need for stronger African voice on the global stage. He lauded President Bio for the kind hospitality they received in Sierra Leone. He says it is good to sign an agreement since both countries shared many things in common. The highlight of the visit was the signing of a general cooperation agreement by the ministers of foreign affairs of both countries. It covers 5 pillars: diplomatic, political, economic, technical, and cultural cooperation. This agreement is more than diplomacy. It is about transforming both economies, integrating the region, and ensuring that Africa speaks with one voice in the world. On trade, both countries agreed to leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area to boost intra-African business. Business delegations from Gabon and Sierra Leone will be exchanged in the coming months. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Timothy Kaba, says the general agreements give them the legal framework. He says ministers and senior officials will establish the consultation mechanism and negotiate specific MOUs.
The starting point is to sign this general agreement, and there is also a proposition from
my counterpart, the Minister of
Earlier, the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Dr. Fatima Bio, has hosted a welcome dinner in honor of Gabon's First Lady, Madame Zita Oligui Nguema, who is in Sierra Leone accompanying her husband, President Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, on an official state visit. The evening brought together government officials, parliamentarians, diplomats, and distinguished guests, with both First Ladies highlighting the importance of strengthening ties between Sierra Leone and Gabon. Cecilia Alisisi tells us more.
A warm welcome, an evening of diplomacy, and a celebration of African sisterhood. First Lady Dr. Fatima Madabio hosted her Gabonese counterpart, Madame Zita Oligui Nguema, to a welcome dinner in Freetown as part of the Gabonese president's official state visit to Sierra Leone.
Welcome you again. I know this is your second time for coming here. You, as one of the African first ladies, have voted for me to be the president of OPEC. For the last year and a half, people like you have made my job so easy.
She also thanked distinguished guests for honoring the invitation before raising a toast to the health and well-being of the Gabonese First Lady. For Madame Zita, the visit is more than a diplomatic engagement. She says the ties between Sierra Leone and Gabon reflect a shared commitment to advancing the well-being of their people, particularly women and children.
Lorsque nos pays unissent leurs efforts,
lorsque nos pays when our countries are united,
c'est l'Afrique tout entière qui avance.
That it affects all of us for progress and development.
Je forme le vœu que cette visite officielle consolide davantage les liens entre le Gabon et la Sierra Leone.
I hope this visit will solidify the partnership between Sierra Leone and the Republic of Gabon.
And there was a lighter moment during the evening. Master of Ceremonies, SLBC's Director General, Madame Josephine Fatima Kamara, surprised and delighted guests when she delivered part of her opening remarks in French, welcoming the Gabonese First Lady in a language familiar to her. She later translated Madame Zita's remarks into English for guests in the hall, effectively bridging the language gap for the evening.
I was going to say this in French. Je vous invite à accueillir Son Excellence Madame Zita Nguema avec les applaudissements chaleureux qui caractérisent l'hospitalité de Sierra Leone.
Beyond the formalities, music and performances from Sierra Leone and Gabon filled the venue, with both First Ladies celebrating and dancing to the sounds of the two countries. The celebration provided a fitting close to an evening centered on friendship, solidarity, and the strengthening of ties between Sierra Leone and Gabon. SLBC News, Cecilia Alice Cisse.
Now to Parliament, which has enacted the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2026, approving a revised supplementary budget for the services of Sierra Leone for the 2026 financial year. During the debates, members of Parliament from both the ruling and opposition benches approached and questioned the National Revenue Authority over revenue shortfalls and its failure to meet domestic revenue targets. Here is the report.
The Supplementary Appropriation Act 2026 be read the third time and passed into law. All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
That was members of parliament giving the green light to the 2026 supplementary budget, aimed at supporting the continued implementation of government programs and national development priorities. Presenting the bill before its passage, the Minister of Finance, Sheku Ahmed Fantamadi Bangura, assured Parliament that the government remains committed to strengthening fiscal policy and improving domestic revenue mobilization to accelerate national development. The Finance Minister acknowledged that instability in the global oil market continues to put pressure on the country's economy, but maintained that government will intensify efforts to address the prevailing economic challenges by strengthening budget credibility, safeguarding macroeconomic stability, and protecting the livelihoods of citizens.
If there are no major changes globally around what is happening in the Middle East, we have to sit up very tight as a country to ensure that our own internal policies are actually pronounced or couched or structured in the way that we are able to cushion the impact of those. And that is why we have placed so much attention for us to be able to make sure that our domestic revenue efforts are robust and solid.
The bill attracted extensive debates with legislators across the political divide, making thoughtful and nationally focused contributions. Members of Parliament collectively called on the government to enhance budget credibility, pursue sound macroeconomic policies, and strengthen transparency and accountability in public financial management. Lawmakers also mounted pressure on the National Revenue Authority over its inability to meet domestic revenue targets, raising concerns about the government's capacity to adequately finance the 2026 budget.
But this is reckless for us. They used to say, I will put the minister on a body for saying, we're not performing. NRA is not performing. On a GST. They are not. They are doing browser in terms of revenue collection. They are not browser. Yes, they are. I have no regrets in saying this. NRA is a complete mess in terms of GST. Let me tell Mr. Minister, we know the act very well. There will be a time when we will go after NRA.
While proposing practical measures to address the revenue shortfall and stabilize the economy, opposition members of parliament urged government to broaden and strengthen tax administration. They also questioned the significant budgetary allocation to the Office of the Chief Minister compared with other ministries and the government flagship programs.
Let us depoliticize three sectors if we want to grow as a country. Let us depoliticize education, agriculture, and health. If we direct our investment, we direct our funds into these three sectors, trust me, they are going to be a paradise in less than 20 years. Mr. Speaker, in all of this, we are still asking that when we have supplementary budgets like this, they must not be seen to address just the office of the president, the chief minister, and other. But again, we need to see a reflection in the key ministries that drive change in society.
It could be recalled that Parliament approved the 2026 national budget in December last year, paving the way for its implementation in January this year. However, recent developments in both the global and domestic economies necessitated a revision of the original 2026 macro-fiscal framework, leading to the presentation and eventual passage of the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2026. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
Enter to Bluetooth.
Okay. You are watching Newshour, reaching you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Television on Channel 31. We continue now to human capital development and cooperation stories. China has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthen military cooperation with Sierra Leone and it celebrated the 99th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese People Liberation Army, or PLA, at the 55th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two countries. The commitment was made during a reception at the Chinese embassy in Freetown, where Emmanuel Samoa reports.
Founded on August 1st, 1927, the People's Liberation Army has grown into one of the world's largest armed forces, contributing to national defense, United Nations peacekeeping, humanitarian assistance, and international security. Marking the occasion, Chinese Defense Attaché Senior Colonel Olin said the PLA remains committed to safeguarding peace while deepening defense cooperation with Sierra Leone. He highlighted continued military training, medical support, and infrastructure assistance for the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces.
China formally commit to a defensive national defense policy and will continue to follow the path of peaceful development. The Chinese military is a steadfast force for the safeguarding world peace. It actively practices the vision of building a community with a shared future for mankind.
Chinese Ambassador Zhao Yong described the event as a celebration of two milestones, the PLA's 99th anniversary and 55th years of diplomatic relations between China and Sierra Leone. He expressed confidence that the long-standing friendship and cooperation between the two countries would continue to grow.
To the 55th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between China and Sierra Leone, and the 99th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, to the everlasting friendship between China and Sierra Leone, to the prosperity and development of China and Sierra Leone, and to the health and happiness of all distinguished guests and your family.
Chief of General Staff of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces, Major General Sir David Gauja, praised China's long-standing support, particularly in military training, humanitarian assistance, and healthcare cooperation, saying the partnership has strengthened the operational capacity of the RSLAF.
The People's Liberation Army has consistently stood by Sierra Leone, offering support in diverse areas that have strengthened our institution and enhanced our national resilience, such as human capacity development. One of the most enduring pillars of cooperation between the People's Liberation Army and the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces has been in this area.
Director General of Defense Gilbert Cooper reaffirmed Sierra Leone's commitment to the One China policy and commended China for its continued support to the country's security sector, economic development, and military modernization. As China approaches the centenary of the People's Liberation Army in 2027, both countries pledged to further strengthen defense cooperation and their long-standing bilateral friendship. Emmanuel Samoa, SLBC.
Now, Doctrina Foundation runs a phonic-based foundational learning and reading program designed to help children between the ages of 4 and 7 to move from recognizing letters to reading. The foundation has partnered with Sierra Leone's Ministry of Technical and Higher Education to roll out the early grade literacy intervention. Our Williams was at the Freetown Polytechnic in Dewey campus, where he compiled the following reports.
Of the music, show the music flashcards to the children as you sing along with the music.
Selected teachers are participating in this collaboration with the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education to roll out an early grade literacy intervention which involves step-by-step letter blending, books, music, and storytelling. The training of the teachers is taking place with hands-on workshops, such as this session at Freetown Polytechnic Dewey campus. Martha Cecilia Mansare said she participated because of her desire to be a motivated teacher who can inspire perfection in the children's reading as well as writing. She recommended the training to enable other teachers to enhance the learning of their pupils. Another teacher, Unisa Kamara, said the process he learned from Doctrina Foundation involves letter songs and activities to identify and write letters. Many teachers experienced the challenges of overcrowding in the classroom, describing the ideal as 10 but experiencing upwards of 60 children per class, but nevertheless to embrace the culture of reading. CEO and founder of Doctrina Foundation, Mike Madsen, said their long-term vision is that Sierra Leone will be the best reading country in West Africa. With a good foundation, he said, pupils will be excited and they will be successful. We want to give Sierra Leone's children the best chance to become everything they can be, he said. By equipping pre-service and in-service educators with evidence-based phonics strategies, phonetic learning aids, and reading materials, especially for young children in underprivileged communities, Doctrina Foundation hopes to fulfill its motto of every child reading, so that children can transition from learning to read and instead be reading to learn.
And now, the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation of DSTI, in partnership with the Sierra Leone Police and Victory Teens Organization, has certified 30 female police officers following a 5-week ICT training program on computing. The initiative was designed to boost digital literacy and accelerate the modernization of policing across Sierra Leone. Aminata Saise reports.
In a significant leap forward for modern law enforcement in Sierra Leone, 30 female police officers have graduated from a 5-week ICT training program organized by the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation in collaboration with the Sierra Leone Police and Victory Teens Organization. The initiative, which covered Freetown, Kenema and Makeni, was to equip police personnel with essential digital capabilities to improve service delivery, crime prevention and investigations, and preparing the force for 21st century security challenges. For the beneficiaries, the impact was immediate. Police Constable Mayan Jawara described the training as an eye-opening experience that has enhanced our confidence and understanding of digital tools.
It's a big opportunity for us to learn more new things. Like though we do know some part of the computer, but being part of the DSTI, it brings us more knowledge and an open idea for us to learn more new things. So for me, the training was amazing and we are happy to be part of the STI.
Deputy Superintendent of Police and Training Coordinator Mila Bangura said the program was a major step towards strengthening the capacity of officers to address emerging security challenges in an increasingly digital world.
As you all know, nowadays, criminals do not necessarily need to meet an individual physically, but they can easily defraud you by utilizing electronics mechanism. So for such a training, it's very relevant for us as a police organization.
The training forms part of a massive national push toward tech inclusion, of which the STI program manager Tigidanke Ba asserted that our institution have trained and certified over 80,000 Sierra Leoneans over the past 5 years.
There is no money on that. I have seen that have completely exhausted even the Microsoft package. There are so many things that Excel can even code with Excel, everything with Excel. even worse. So it's limited knowledge that in that case. So please, I want to.
Speaking at the closing ceremony, the County Director of Victory Teens Organization, Magdalene Mathalebi, labeled the initiative as a high-yield investment in both human capacity and national infrastructure.
Wisely to impact the community and your workplaces. Thank you all for your commitment. Thank you for your support. Together, let us continue to invest in innovation, collaboration, and capacity building as we work towards a digitally transformed Sierra Leone. Thank you. God bless you.
The program marks another milestone in partnership between the STI, the Sierra Leone Police, and Victory Teens Organization in promoting digital transformation and building a modern technology-driven police service. Almami Conte reporting.
Now, Minister of Health, in collaboration with UNICEF and other local and international partners, have commemorated World Breastfeeding Week 2026 with a health work campaign in Freetown under the theme Breastfeeding for Sustainable Start in Life, Strengthening What Works. The event aims to raise awareness about the critical role of breastfeeding in advancing maternal and child health outcomes. Abdul Mansari reports.
The health work exercise organized by the Ministry of Health and partners commenced at Victoria Park in Freetown and concluded at the ministry's headquarters at UAE building. Participants included health officials, community members, mothers and children, all united in their mission to promote breastfeeding. UNICEF country representative Mariko Kangoshima underscored the significance of community health and nutrition, particularly for mothers and children, stating breastfeeding is not just a personal choice, it is a societal responsibility.
We talk about zero maternal death. Breastfeeding contributed for more than 30% of reduction of death. If the baby put on the breast immediately after birth, there will be no postpartum bleeding and you save the mother. If the baby first put on the breast, it's a colostrum feeding. It's the first vaccine, so zero dose vaccine. And if the baby have breastfeeding and complementary feeding, 1/5 of the child death can be reduced.
The week-long campaign aims to engage communities through media outreach and direct community engagement. The Director of Food and Nutrition in the Ministry of Health, Millicent Ali, emphasized the need for widespread dissemination of information within communities to engage breastfeeding practices that can lead to healthier outcomes for mothers and their children.
And for the Directorate of Food and Nutrition, we have got children nutritionists that are in the children. As I speak to you now, they are in these different communities disseminating information to mothers and families about breast milk and how it's important for the growth of the child and for the mother also.
The health work concluded with speeches from key stakeholders, reiterating their commitment to supporting breastfeeding initiatives and improving nutrition across Sierra Leone. As part of the broader 300-day activism initiative by the ministry, this campaign seeks to make substantial strides in improving health outcomes across Sierra Leone by raising awareness and promoting best practices in breastfeeding and complementary feeding. The Ministry of Health and its partners hope to make a lasting impact on maternal and child health. SLBC News, Abdul Mansari reporting.
Now from World Breastfeeding commemoration with health work, we now take a pause on our news items and going for segment within the news, beginning with our international news summary.
Thanks for joining me live with the international news, and I'm Yusuf Mosisma. And we start with Iran war. Iran has denied Donald Trump's claim that new talks on ending the conflict will begin on Monday after the US president called off what he said would have been massive strikes on the country. The US President Donald Trump did not specify where the talks would be held or who would attend. Energy prices have fluctuated since the conflict started on the 28th February as traders reacted to disruptions to shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Around 20% of the world's crude oil and liquefied natural gas usually flows through the strait. Versus tracking data from trade intelligence company PLA suggests that commercial shipping through the strait has slowed. And also the United Kingdom. Reform UK says it will use the military to forcibly return small boat migrants to France. The plans, unveiled on Monday, suggest military personnel will accompany migrants back to ports on the other side of the English Channel, overriding French objections if necessary. The party claimed the proposals would form the largest military operations in the Channel since World War II. More than 2,000 migrants have arrived in the UK on small boats since Bonham became Prime Minister, and 326 people crossed the English Channel. International conventions on the sea allow for states to pick people up from boats if they are in danger of being lost, but do not allow for them to be taken to another country without that nation's consent. From UK now to Ethiopia. Hundreds of Ethiopians from the Tigray region have crossed into neighboring Sudan following fighting between regional forces and the Ethiopian army over the weekend. A member of the Tigray People's Liberation Front said the violence, which continued into Sunday, involved heavy artillery and drones. The two-year civil war in northern Ethiopia between the Tigray People's Liberation Front and the federal government, which led to the death of hundreds of thousands of people, ended with an African Union brokered peace deal in 2022. The federal government and the federal army have not issued an official statement, but Minister Abraham Bile confirmed that clashes had occurred. And finally, to Sudan. 35 people were killed in a drone strike by the Sudanese army on a traditional court session in the north of the Darfur region, a local rights organization has said. The emergency lawyers group called for an investigation into the drone strike and condemned the targeting of the courts, saying that attacks on civilians and civilian infrastructure are a grave violation of international humanitarian law. The RSF has also been accused of war crimes, including drone attacks on civilians over the past 3 years. And that is all we have in today's edition of the International News. And I've been your presenter. My name is Yusuf Mosiesma, and you continue to stay with the SLBC on channel 31. Thanks for watching.
Many thanks to Yusuf Mosiesma for the International News roundoff. But from there, we now take our business updates.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Business Updates. This segment brings you the latest in business and its contribution towards impacting the economy. I'm Moses Conte. For today's edition of Business Updates, QCell Sierra Leone has announced the official launch of its new code 035. According to the CEO QCell Sierra Leone, Jayamani Katik, the event marked another milestone in the company's commitment to expanding access for quality telecommunication service and delivering greater values to customers across the country. Let's hear the story.
The introduction of the 035 series, according to QCell's management, represents more than just a new number range, but it offers customers the opportunity to own a memorable mobile identity while supporting QCell's continued growth and investment in Sierra Leone's digital future. The Chief Executive Officer, QCell Sierra Leone, Jayamani Kathink, described the launch of the 035 number series as a demonstration of the MNO's continued investment in innovation, customer experience, and national connectivity. He said they will give Sierra Leoneans more opportunities to choose numbers that reflect their identity.
Following days to come and months to come, you will see that we are upgrading continuously our network, and in the pursuit of following to attain network resilience as well as better connectivity experience across Sierra Leone. With this, we are giving opportunities to our customers to choose numbers that reflect their identity while ensuring we continue to meet the growing demand of the mobile services across the country. Our customers will be able to reserve and purchase their preferred 035 numbers through designated QCell channels, including our customer experience centers, authorized dealers, digital reservation platforms, and QCell app.
The team also said the new SIM will bring several benefits and opportunities for subscribers, such as 10-minute voice, 300 megabytes, 100 SMS, affordable internet bundles, among other promotions, and valued-added services for 6 months upon purchasing the SIM. In responding to questions on the safeguard of numbers, especially Q-Money, from scammers, head of Q-Money Sierra Leone, Gabriel Mendy, acknowledged the high rate of scammers using different SIM to fraudulently collect money from people.
Our mission has always been clear: to drive financial inclusion, empower communities, and ensure that every Sierra Leonean has a tool to participate in a fully digital economy. This series also strengthens Q-Money's role as part of the leaders in mobile money services. It is widening the number of numbers that we have in our telco ecosystem.
QCell said the move was part of its broader strategy to enhance customers' choice, strengthen digital inclusion, and support Sierra Leone's growing economy. Reporting for SLBC, Moses Conte.
Well, that's all we can share in today's edition of Business Updates. I've been your presenter, Moses Conte. Keep watching the SLBC.
Thank you, Moses Conte, for bringing us the business update. So from business, we bring news to a close. For that, a look at the top stories again. Sierra Leone and Gabon have taken a major step to deepen bilateral relations. The two countries have signed a joint communique and a general cooperation agreement aimed at expanding partnership in trade, security, agriculture, energy, and governance. Following the heavy downpour on Monday, August 3rd, some residents at Petroleum community suffered loss as a fence collapsed and 2 vehicles washed away. Although no lives were lost, it has been a call for authorities concerned to act swiftly to save lives. And finally, the government has announced new pump prices for petroleum products following a review of the petroleum pricing formula by the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and oil marketing companies. Effective immediately, the price of petrol has increased from 33 millions to 35 millions per litre. The government said it was providing a subsidy of 2 millions, 11 cents per litre to cushion the impact on customers. And that's all we have time for in this edition of news. Many thanks for watching, and thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company. Keep watching the public service broadcaster at SLBC for the very best in broadcasting. Until then, tennis feelers, my name is Goodbye.